What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another Yankee Way podcast with my co-host, John. How are you doing, my good friend?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
And there's pretty good reason to be doing well. The Yankees 10-3 record swept the Astros at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Who would have thought? Beat the D-Bags 2-1, which just went to the World Series. So you swept a team who went to the ALCS, and you beat a team 2-1 that just went to the World Series in the National League. Then you beat the Blue Jays 2-1, and then you beat the Marlins 2-1. I mean, they haven't lost a series yet. They've been extremely, extremely good. They've been playing very, very good baseball.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to tell everybody what I told you immediately after we ended the podcast last time? What did I tell you when I said we finished the video and we got off and I'm like, man, if they do this, I'm happy. Like, do you remember what I said?
Not exactly. So go ahead and remind me real quick.
I basically, after that, we had the 4 games and the 3 games, and I was basically like, look, if they go 4-3 in this opening series, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, that's good enough. Like, as long as you can split the first series, and then you go win 2 out of 3 of the next series, I'm happy. And they swept the Astros, and they won 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks. I mean, just like 6-1? Yeah, 6-1. 6-1 against those 2 teams that are essentially World Series contenders. Truthfully, with the pitching staff that we had, I didn't see that coming at all. And I mean, like, look, I'm a Yankee fan, but I mean, I'm a realist, and I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I expect them to win every day, but the realist part of me is not a blind fan, and I can see what's happening, and I'm like, I don't know, but the Astros they had a bad start, and we took advantage of that. We just played a little bit better than they did.
And it wouldn't be without some heroics from the obvious Juan Soto and the less obvious Oswaldo Cabrera. Did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he had to get benched because we've been playing basically 3 lefties against the Marlins, but hopefully he'll be back in the lineup after the day off tomorrow.
So yeah, obviously Soto's been playing well. Cabrera's been playing well. Volpe doing amazing. He's really cut off that kind of, I wouldn't call it a helicopter swing because that's more Andujar, but the uppercut swing, he's not doing that as much. He's hitting the ball to all sides of the field. He's taking what the pitchers are giving him. He's just being a overall complete hitter, and this is the guy that we've been all excited about for years. And it's finally playing out. If he needs to hit a homer, he can do it. He needs to hit for contact, he can do it. He can steal bases, he can hit for power, hit for contact, and he's also playing good defense. He has 2 defensive runs saved and 2 outs above average. He's literally doing everything that you could possibly want for him and then some.
Yeah. I mean, the defense from Volpe has been great. The only thing that I can really, if I had to complain about one single thing, and I don't want to complain about a lot of things, because everything has been pretty good so far. Even though Judge is not hitting, he's getting on base. Everyone's basically contributing except for, like, the only thing we're not getting any kind of offense out of is the catcher spot, but, I mean, that'll come around. I'm pretty sure Austin Wells is going to hit at some point, and Trevino is usually pretty clutch. But the only thing that I can really point to and look at that and be like, I think that could be a little bit better, is the fact that we're having a lot of issues on defense in terms of just throwing the ball away, or something doesn't come up with a scoop or something like that. It's just like stuff that, as the season goes on, I hope that they can clean up a little bit better, because the fact that, we're getting all these throws that are just not being completed to Rizzo. I mean, Rizzo's a vacuum at first base, but for some reason, these throws are being bounced left and right, or we're just not completing double plays. It's just like, yes, it could be better, but I'm not freaking out over it yet. But it's a little bit like, man, because, we're already stretched thin on the pitching staff as it is right now. We're down a starter, and we've lost the Weisiga, so now we're basically throwing people out there into uncomfortable situations like Victor Gonzalez having to close a game. Making those kinds of issues and those errors are going to prolong innings and is going to further tax us, and it's going to make it a little bit harder to win games. But, I'm not that concerned yet. There is a lot of time to clean it up, and hopefully, we'll get some PFPs and it'll improve.
Kind of the last thing I wanted to mention about just the record and stuff. Obviously, great start, like we mentioned before. Now they're going to go into Cleveland to play a tough Guardians team that is off to a good start themselves. They are 9-3 right now, so they have 1 less win than the Yankees do. So it would be definitely interesting, and that's definitely something to keep in consideration. Obviously, the Yankees don't have Garrett Cole, but the Guardians do not have Shane Bieber. He's out for the season because every starter nowadays, for whatever reason, is going down with elbow injuries, whether it's a combination between the pitch clock and just high velocity. I think it's multiple different contributors that is basically the culprit for why all this is happening. But I'm glad that you mentioned something about the catching position, because that is one thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit. If anything, it's not a complaint. It's honestly, if anything, something to look forward to. And that is Austin Wells. Jose Trevino, on the opposite side of the spectrum, you're not going to get much offense out of him, so nobody should be expecting offense anyways. He's just there to be a good defensive catcher, and he's a master framer. However, this is what I will say. As of right now, Austin Wells, 300 OBP, he has a 20 BB percentage, so he's getting on base. He's by walks a decent amount, and the unfortunate part is that he has a 130 slugging percentage. However, according to StatCast and the information that I brought up, he is 93rd percentile or better for expected slugging and expected WOBA, with a 617 expected slugging and a 431 expected WOBA. Not only that, he also is in the 88th percentile for barrel percentage. So what that really tells me is that despite the fact that he has a 130 slugging percentage, he's hitting the ball very well. He's barreling up baseballs, and due to the fact that he's hitting line drives and they're going straight at fielders' gloves and he's not catching a break off of it, makes sense why he has such a high expected or not a barrel percentage, but a high expected slugging percentage and a expected WOBA. Is he's just not catching any breaks right now. But we know baseball is a game. We're going to catch breaks. It's eventually going to go your way. It's not going to go against you for all of mankind. Eventually, Austin Wells is going to catch those breaks, and I'm so excited because not only that, but he's very close. He's in the same realm as Trevino has been right now for framing. So something that the Yankees or people that have been very questioned about is how good will Wells' defense will be. Well, the framing is pretty dang good right now. It's up there with Trevino. I think Trevino is like 88th percentile and Trevino is in the 80th percentile. So it's really not all that big of a difference. It's pretty close for how much people were calling Austin Wells' defense suspect or questioning it, which was fair to question at the time. But it's just these little things like the high expected slugging, expected WOBA. Eventually he'll get those base hits. Obviously the barrel percentage is there. You don't have to worry about that. He's going to keep barreling the ball up. And he's obviously, he can walk. He's shown that he can draw walks and work out the count a little bit. High BB percentage, 20 BB percentage. Austin Wells is going to be fine. I cannot wait until he starts catching some breaks because he is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Actually, while you're speaking about Austin Wells and you're talking about expected WOBA, okay, so I have the numbers right in front of me because I saw this stat the other day and it blew my mind. So Austin Wells right now has a WOBA. I'm looking at this. He's 41st from the bottom of the league right now. Like you said, 80th percentile. He has a WOBA of 232 right now, and his expected WOBA of .431. And he currently leads the league in. He's technically the most unlucky player in the league right now because his expected WOBA is almost 200 points greater than his current WOBA, which is unbelievable. His expected slugging is 617. His actual slugging is 130, which is the difference of 487, which, by the way, also leads the league. And I think he's like second. Yeah, he's second in batting average versus expecting batting average, second only to Francisco Lindor in the league. So yes, you can draw two conclusions from this. One, he's very unlucky, and two, he also has very limited plate appearances. So that's baseball. It happens. You go on it's a sprint. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So eventually the numbers will even out a little bit, and you go on crazy runs in baseball. It happens. Like Giancarlo Stanton right now, who's hitting 400 over the last 5 games right now, and it looks like he's Barry Bonds again. It's just like it happens. So, but that's just kind of crazy to me that Austin Wells is currently leading the league in bad luck, which it'll turn around hopefully. Just give it time.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to give it time. And kind of speaking of Stanton, he has a 605 slugging right now, sitting at 155 WRC plus. So he is swinging the bat very hot right now. 605 slugging as it sits right now.
That's like 21st in the league right now. Tied for 21 with Christopher Morel. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, this is the Stanton that we want to see. We haven't gotten this version of Stanton in a long time. And
When
we
was the last
know...
time we saw someone pitch around Stanton? When was the last time we saw someone pitch around Stanton? It's been a while.
I couldn't tell
Usually
you.
that's the guy they pitch to get to Stanton.
Mm-hmm. And now it's
The
just...
Marlins pitched around him tonight to get to Rizzo. I'm like, what?
What
is going on?
I do want to mention, it's obviously not a complaint, and I mean, he'll get it going. I'm not worried about it. It's Aaron Judge. But like you said earlier, Judge is still walking, if anything. So he's still getting on base. He's just, part of it is just unlucky, and part of it is just the fact that it's a long season. And he'll be fine. Like right now, as it's sitting right now, this is why I think average can be very misleading. So he has like a 178 average, but he has 128 WRC plus. So he's like 28% above league average offensively, which obviously that's nowhere close to his caliber of play. Obviously, anybody can admit that. But it's just so early in the season, and he's been so good his whole tenure with the Yankees. So I'm not even worried about Judge. He'll figure it out. It's great that Stanton's doing amazing. Juan Soto, you don't have to worry about Juan Soto. Amazing. Volpe's been everything that I was excited for last year and then some. Really the only like big question mark to me right now, and I think given enough time, he'll get it going too. I have confidence in him. Is Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has been pretty cold lately. He hasn't really done a whole lot. But I think that will kind of solve itself over time, because I think Gleyber Torres is definitely a player that I would consider above league average. Not like elite or anything like that, but definitely above league average for an offensive second baseman / shortstop when he was playing shortstop. But I mean, kind of Rizzo too. I mean, technically Rizzo's still above league average on his WRC plus numbers, but definitely could see some more production from Rizzo. I don't know when we're going to see Trent Grisham again. I feel like I haven't seen him play in a century.
Well, because we've been playing lefties.
Yeah.
I'm certain he'll come back into the lineup pretty soon. I don't know. Probably in the next series, like you said, in Cleveland, we'll probably give somebody a day off. Like, we'll give Judge a DH day, and Stanton will sit. The problem is, Stanton's been on fire. So how do you take Stanton out of the DH spot right now? Like, you can't. Like, that's the problem. He'll come back. But yeah, no, I've been noticing Torres too. Torres has been a little slow. He's been taking his walks. He's been getting on base. But he's just a little slow with the bat right now, which is kind of also why I'm okay with moving Volpe down to the number 1 spot and putting Torres in the 6th spot. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. Volpe's been seeing a lot of pitches and he's walking, so I'd put him at the top because he's an on-base machine right now. You might as well put him up there. But I'm sure Torres will come around. Like he's a veteran at this point. I'm certain, especially in a contract year. I expect big things out of Torres.
And another side point, Volpe is also going to steal more bases than Torres, so that also, from a standpoint, makes sense for him to lead off. Outside of the offense, man, I mean, Nestor Cortez looked a lot better in his Marlins start. I know people are going to be like, well, it's against the Marlins, but it's like...
It is the Marlins.
It is the Marlins, but we're taking baby steps, so I have to still give them credit, even if it's just one game.
They have 2 Major League players.
And then Carlos Rodon has looked awesome. Marcus Stroman has also looked awesome. I know his last start against Marlins, he struggled to find the zone a little bit, but his ERA is still in excellent condition. It's still 2.12, so it's like he's been awesome too. And I really, really, really love watching Marcus Stroman. He might be my favorite starter to watch at this point. That's not Garrett Cole, just because of how many pitches he throws, how many different ticks and velocity he has, and just kind of the overall pitch tempo that he has. Sometimes I wouldn't say he kind of quick pitches, but he kind of has like a delay in his delivery. You know what I'm talking about? And
hesitation,
the hesitation, and also combine that with the fact that he throws, I think, 6 different pitches. And ticks it up in velocity or drops it in velocity. It's really, really hard to get a good read on Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, as what's his face? As David Cohn would say, he's very good at the varying speeds. He's very good at pitching in and out, and he's he knows what he's doing. He has a plan. He's smart about it, and he's a gamer. Tonight, like, he clearly didn't have his best stuff, and he pitched through it. I know he walked a lot of people. I know he threw a lot of pitches. I know he gave up. He basically made one mistake. He literally only made one mistake, and that came after 2 really, really weak ground balls. I mean, it was incredibly random. Like they tried to pitch out, and like Gary Sanchez-esque or like Miguel Cabrera-esque, the guy singled on a 17 hopper on a pitch out, and I'm just like, okay, fine, that happens. And then another 17 hopper through the left side, and then Jake Berger hits a home run, and I'm just like, yeah, that's about right. Unfortunate, but he gave you length that I didn't think he was going to give you, and clearly didn't have his best stuff, and he fought through it, and he's a gamer, and I love that. And like you said, Rodon, I don't know who got through to him to like help him learn changeup and secondary pitches, but thankfully someone has got through to him, and he's no longer just like fastball slider, because I think he's a lot better of a pitcher with those pitches as opposed to just being straight up fastball slider, because that is not working, not anymore. And Nestor was brilliant. I mean, just amazing. Just 8 innings, like 2 hits, like incredible stuff. Like that's the nasty Nestor that I miss.
Yeah, I definitely miss all his antiques on the mound, where he takes a while to throw the ball,
much needed bullpen rest day right there.
Sidearm action and such. Yeah, and obviously it does really suck that Loaizaga is out with an injury. Because I'm a big fan of Loaizaga, especially that sinker ball.
We all love him.
That sinker ball, when he gets that moving with high velocity, that is just an absolute abomination of a pitch to try and
generate that much velocity.
Exactly.
Sad, man. Sad. Well,
the one guy that I really do like, though, and I know he had a struggle game, not yesterday, but the game before that, is the Ham Dog. You know what I'm talking about? The Ham Dog. Hamilton. He's got some really nasty stuff. Unbelievably nasty. When he's on...
That's a Matt Blake. What's the
term
I always use whenever I say
the Matt Blake cheating lab?
Cheating lab. Yeah, that's he's a Matt Blake cheating lab result, basically. I'm terrified to see what the pitcher we got from Pittsburgh is going to turn into, because it seems like we always pull like crazy things from Pittsburgh. So we'll see if we can get that guy as a 5th starter. Like, we'll see. And Luis Gil has been amazing too. Like, I just love watching Luis Gil pitch. Like, I want to see him go deeper into games, but his stuff is just disgusting. Like, how many people throw, like, he's like Tommy Kahnle. He throws like a 90-mile-an-hour changeup, which, speaking of Tommy Kahnle, when was the last time we even heard of Tommy Kahnle? I remember he got hurt at the beginning of spring training. What's happening with Tommy Kahnle? Like, where's he at right now? I don't know.
He's on the injured list right now.
I feel like I have not heard his name. I just remembered it right now because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Tommy Kahne's on this team. Totally forgot about him. And
if he can even get back to remotely where he was when he used to be here in like the 2019 era, man, I'm going to have a great time with that, because you know how much I love Tommy Kahnle's changeup. That thing is disgusting when he's at his best. But we'll see. You never know.
I think it's a very good thing right now. So we're what? We're 10-2 right now? 10-2 or
10-3.
10-3. Yeah, I forgot. We actually lose baseball games. It's a really good thing right now. The team is 10-3 right now. And essentially what's happening is we're down a starter. We're down a bullpen guy. Judge isn't hitting, but he's getting on base. We have absolutely 0 offensive production from the catcher spot. Yet we're 10-3, and we're going to bring back Dominguez. Maybe Scott Efros is going to come back. Maybe Lou Trevino is going to come back. Maybe Tommy Kahnle's going to come back. Garrett Cole is going to come back. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's a little early to be looking at it, but I'm feeling pretty positive right now that this team is looking really good right now. And it's only as the year goes on, if they can continue putting wins in the bank, I feel really good about our chances, because there's a lot of very, very good pitches and hitters coming back. Like, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Not to mention the fact that we always make a deadline move. Maybe Pittsburgh wants to move David Bednar finally, because he's had a pretty rough start. Like, who knows at this point, right?
Yeah, you could say David Bednar is having a rough start. I think he's blown 3 out of the last 4 appearances he's been in so far.
Yeah. It's the Chapman effect. I don't know what to tell you.
But yeah, I mean, the bullpen overall, I don't really have any complaints about. I like Caleb Ferguson. I like Victor Gonzalez. I like Nick Birdie. I really like Clay Holmes.
Nasty stuff.
I really like Clay Holmes. You know that too. Even though people always complain about him, despite the fact he still has a 0 ERA in 6 innings. So there's that much. Yeah, he's got
a really weird line right now.
So
he's like 6 innings pitched, like 3 runs and none earned. 7 hits. And I'm like, you can thank Juan Soto for saving him a run, essentially.
Well, the only thing I care about is earned runs, and right now he sits at 0 earned runs, so
Zero.
that's way more important than runners that
Oh
he
yeah,
had
for
no
sure.
business putting on base anyways, and putting him
Yeah.
in that predicament to have to throw him out there in the first place. Because there was at least one game in this, I think it was the Blue Jays game where it was a 9-8 final. There was no
Yes.
reason Clay Holmes should even been used.
There was no
in that
reason we needed to bring
situation.
him in that game.
So it's like situations like that. I'm not going to blame Clay Holmes for that. There's just absolutely no
Yeah.
reason for it. Other guys got to step up.
You got to give the Blue Jays credit for essentially having Kevin Gossman go 1 1/3 innings, and then they still managed to bring the tying run to the plate at the end of the game, and the winning run was on base at that point too, I believe. So I mean, you got to give the Blue Jays credit there. But I wish we didn't need to bring up a closer in a game where we score 6 runs off the starting pitcher and he goes 1 1/3 innings. But them's the breaks. That happens. Everyone needs a little bit of work at that point. But thankfully, right afterwards, like I said, we had Nestor come in, pitch a great game, give the bullpen a complete day off, and now tomorrow we have a day off. Everyone takes a rest day, and we'll see where we end up.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say tomorrow, yeah. Well, technically, yeah, but
Tomorrow, today, whenever this goes live.
Yeah. I'll just listen to you on that one.
It's tomorrow right now, but it'll probably be today when you guys watch this.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly what he said. Was there anything else that you want to cover? I kind of felt like I needed to cover mostly what I want to talk about with Austin Wells, the overall record, and just how the Yankees are playing. There's really, really nothing to complain about right now. Everything's going very well, and I don't know why anybody would be expecting anything better, or why anybody would be seriously complaining about anything right now.
Yeah, no, there's no serious complaints. It's more like this team is playing very well, and it's more like it could be even better, which is crazy. But they're playing at a very good click right now, and I'm very satisfied with it. The only thing I think that I'm really looking forward to is the fact that so right now we're very good at getting on base. We're very good at having people work walks and get on base. I'm waiting for this team to start aggressively base running. I'm talking about you've got a lot of speed in this lineup. Cabrera can steal bases. Torres can steal bases. What's his face?
Kleber can steal bases too.
Kleber can steal bases. Who's the third baseman? John Birdie. He can steal bases.
Birdie
He's very fast.
Mm-hmm.
He can steal bases. Rizzo will steal bases. Judge will steal bases. They're very aggressive base runners. I'm just waiting for this team to take the next step and start actually trying to steal bases because it will keep us out of double plays. Verdugo's pretty fast too. I think he can probably steal a couple bags as well. You got to put pressure on the defense. We have 2/3 of the puzzle there right now. You've got people getting on base. You need to get people in. And I think that if you get people over and you make, how many times last year did we see Volpe get on base and absolutely torment the pitchers?
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking forward to. You just see pitchers freaking out on the rubber because, they're not sure if he's running. They're trying to keep him close. It constantly in the back of your mind. I think that's a very important step in baseball is you need to make that pitcher worry about you getting on base, and then you really win baseball games.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. I like that.
I'm waiting for it. I know it's coming, but I'm waiting for it.
Well, that's pretty much it from my end. I got everything that I wanted to hammer down. Was that the last thing that you wanted to talk about? Just
yeah, pretty much. I think that's basically everything I'm thinking of.
All right. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this podcast. We'll definitely try and do one this next week. I want to try and do them unlike last year or I was so busy. I am even busier this year, but I still want to try and get at least a podcast out every single week. Keep it consistent. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell notification so you don't miss a video that I upload. Comment, like, and do all those wonderful things. And we will see you guys on the next podcast.